I thought it was a better offensive day for us, which we desperately needed. That's the one thing I wanted today is I wanted us to push pace in transition. I wanted us to share the ball. I wanted to see the ball go in the hole, and I think it did that. I think it did it pretty consistently. So that is really what we needed, really what our focus was on our offense coming into this game, and hopefully this can be a big step for us.
Questions for Alyssa and you? Start with Maria and Cora.
Mia, I believe 28 assists total. Just how important is a number like that for this team?
With as much talent as we have, it's really important, especially because we all know we could get our shots on our own times. But, moving the ball and sharing the ball creates chemistry, and I feel like we got that chemistry and trust. So moving on forward, I feel like that's a good number to move on forward with.
Mia, you had a career-high 10 assists. You've strung together some really strong games. Just what's been, clicking for you, or what do you feel like has allowed you to build on these games?
Yeah, I would definitely say probably the first few games, I'm just trying to get comfortable. But now I found my rhythm, found my game, my confidence, and my trust in my teammates trust me to put the ball in the basket as well as my coach. So least I could do is provide for them.
Mia, you've talked about the assists. Are you more excited about your 10 assists or your 0 turnovers tonight?
Wait, definitely my 10 assists. As a point guard, taking care of the ball is highly important. But making sure I find my teammates and put them in the right spots is more important for me. I feel like that's harder to do.
On the back to Casey.
Mia, with 18 points and 10 assists, just how do you feel like you've kind of settled into being able to balance when it's your shot to take and when someone else has the better read?
I would just say the feel of the game. I don't rush my shots. I take the shots that I feel are open, and I find my teammates because I'm a point guard. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Cora, then Maria.
Alyssa, you just impacted the game in every facet today. It felt like every minute you were on the court, you were engaged in impacting part of the game. Just what kind of led to that for you? How did you feel on the court? And, just what's led to you kind of being able to thrive?
I would say just that week of practice that we had, being able to get back in the game, get back with my team, get my rhythm back, and that's exactly what I did. And I was just playing, doing what I do best.
For both players, Alyssa and Mia, I know it's sort of off basketball, this game. You got to go to the Pat Summitt tribute on Thursday. I just wondered if both of you could talk about what that meant to you, and you sort of see that whole long orange line that everybody talks about.
It's just great just to know the history that we have here, what Pat Summitt did for this program, but also women's basketball. And it's great to be a part of that history. It's kind of like you go out there and you play for that, and that's what we try to do every day. So it's just beautiful just to see.
Yeah, it was definitely inspiring. It's like Liz said, it's a reminder that you're not only playing for yourself, but you're playing for the fan base. You're playing for the history of the school. So every time we step on the court, we got to play like we have a chip on our shoulder.
Go next to Cora.
Alyssa, going into that 11-day break you guys had, coming off the West Coast trip, just what were the conversations like among you guys, and what was kind of the mentality over that break for you guys?
Just knowing what we need to get better at. Coach Kim really put an emphasis on our offense, our rebounding, just a lot of things that we had to sharpen, especially when we get ready to go into conference play. So being able to just work hard every day, do what we need to do, listen to Coach Kim, working on our offense, our defense, whatever it is, and making sure that we're good and meeting the goals that we want to meet.
Anything else for the players?
Transition offense. Because we do a lot of up and down in practice, so definitely transition offense.
All right, Alyssa, Mia, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Questions for Coach, please? Cora?
Alyssa just looked much more active, much more comfortable out there. Was there a point you kind of saw it start to build for her in practice over the break
Oh, yeah.
or click? Just what's really stood out about how she played today?
Yeah, it definitely clicked for her. I think obviously we had a lot of practices, and at the first couple she was really tired. And then ever since then she's been out of area, rebounding, blocking shots. I mean, just it looks like a different player, jumping higher, moving quicker, leading, talking to her team, and I think all of that is really important for her and it's important for our program.
Go next to Ryan and then Casey.
Mia touched on it, and you talked a little before the game too, but what do you think's really clicked for her these last 2 games in particular?
I just think she's playing with more confidence, and with freshmen, the more games they get under the belt, the stronger and stronger they're going to look down the stretch. And she's a great player, and when she's on our team, looks better.
Mia's energy kind of encompass just the player that you're looking for in the system? It feels like her hustle never wavers. It's just always 100%.
Yeah, and she really showed that tonight. I think from the very beginning of the game, she was the spark for us. She was all over the place. She was getting steals. She was pushing pace in transition. She was making the right pass, and she did it on both sides of the ball, and she was really the one that made our whole team go.
Go next to Riley and then right.
Coach, I know you guys probably would have rather play last week than have a whole week off, but how do you feel like that extra week just benefited you guys right here in this part of the season?
Yeah, we needed the week. I think that they would have rather played, but I think we got better from it. You can slowly see us starting to get better, and so we just needed to string some days together, work on some different things.
Go next to Cora and then Tyler and then Maria.
Was there kind of like a resolve to make that West Coast trip kind of the turning point of the season where you guys take a step and you build from it from the players? Could you kind of sense that there was a level of urgency coming off that trip?
I think so, and I think it paired really well with the fact that we had time in our schedule to work on some things and put it together, and now school is not in session to really take a big step because we have time.
Your team had 7 fouls in the first quarter. Was there anything you said about that heading into the second quarter?
Yeah, we said stop fouling. We said stop fouling all game long, but they finally listened. They were tired of the game stopping.
Go to Maria and then Ryan.
Coach, same question I had for the players, just the impact of that event, because you would probably know a little bit more about the history than some of your youngsters up there would.
I know, it's sad, isn't it? And it gets lost on me. And you're in an arena like this, and you walk down the hallways, and you just see all of the history. And it's in our face every single day, but you get to a point where you're so worried about fixing what we need to fix. Let's fix our foul shots. Let's fix our offense. Let's fix this. And you get just so focused on yourselves that I think it was really important for them to see, I don't want to say the weight we carry, but to see what we represent and to see that everything that we are doing is bigger than us and everything that we have has come from players and coaches that were here before us. And I think that they did a great job and they loved it. They weren't whining that, you take people, you have players that you ask them to do stuff outside of practice. They really enjoyed it. They were talking about it the next day in practice. They were referencing they can only say 2 points and rebound. And I said, I wish that we could do that. They wouldn't even give me 15 minutes of practice. I asked for the first 3 drills where they could only give me 2 responses. But for them to hear about Pat and hear about her from her players and people that lived through it, I think it was such a valuable lesson for them. And again, sometimes it gets lost on me of what they don't know, and those reminders need to come back more often.
Ryan, Casey, and then Cora.
You talked about third quarter struggles this year. Obviously, the game was kind of out of hand by that point, but was that more of the right response out of halftime that you wanted?
Yeah, it was. I think that we were still a little lax at times in that third quarter. They had 13 in that quarter. They probably should have only had 8, but we tried some different presses, and the majority of those came off of just missing those new rotations.
What impressed you the most about how they effectively shared the ball to come away with 28 assists today?
Yeah, I think that was good. I think they took pride in it. It's a game where you could really be selfish and you could say, well, I want to get mine and I'm going to pout if I don't have it. And we wanted to get 30 assists. We were close to it. And I think we've talked about sharing the ball, swinging the ball, making the next play, and they did that.
We'll go next to Cora and then Paige.
I thought Jada had a really nice game today, just in terms of didn't feel like there was a whole lot of moments where she was too sped up and she was all over the glass. Just what did you like about, what she did, and do you feel like she's kind of getting that, handle of the pace and not moving too fast?
Yeah, she had a few turnovers, I think, that were pace related, but you got to take on both sides of that, she's out of area rebounding, she's soaring over people, she's going to get the ball, and so that was her focus tonight, was she's going to go get rebounds, and I gave her a point goal, and she's like, nope, I'm just going to get rebounds, and that is a selfless player, that is a player that just wants to make sure that she gets extra positions for her teams, and I do think she did a really good job of getting to the rim with ease, making the right play, hitting some shots. I thought it was good for her.
Janiah Barker had a pretty stellar outing today. What would you say stood out to you the most, whether it's the points, the rebounding, or just kind of how she was able to facilitate?
I think the best part about her game is how efficient it was. I mean, her stat line, she didn't miss very many shots. She didn't take very many bad shots. She passed up some to pass to her teammates. She was very, very efficient, and I think for her going forward, she needs to continue to be efficient.
Jersey played almost 17 minutes with just 2 fouls. That's a big improvement there. She seemed to be more in the flow of things. She's somebody that can really help y'all. Is she starting to maybe elevate somewhat?
She had a good week of practice, a really good week of practice. She doesn't, I agree with you, she doesn't make a lot of mistakes for us. We just like to get a little bit more out of her, and she had good touch around the rim today. She made the plays, more rebounds. I think she could get a few more rebounds on the offensive end, but she looked poised. She looked under control today.
Cora and then Casey.
Kind of want to go back to Alyssa and just kind of the role that she has with this team. Just how important is her role with the ability she has to impact every part of the game?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's as big as she wants it to be, and those are conversations that we've had. I trust her to go get rebounds for 4 quarters. I trust her to get steals. She can play in the front of the press. She can play in the back of the press. She can box out. She can guard a guard. She can guard a 5. She can shoot a 3. She's not shooting it very well, but we've talked about that, trying to get her back in the gym because she had been shooting it pretty well. She can score on the outside. She can score on the inside, and she's a pretty good passer. And so the more aggressive she wants to be, the better our team will be.
25 second chance points. Did you feel like the urgency to get those offensive rebounds was a little bit higher than it has been, or kind of just around the same?
I think it was around the same. I think we had a size advantage, so I don't really want to clap too hard for them on that. I think our Stanford game, we did a really good job of rebounding on the offensive end, and it won us the game, and so it was good to see it carry over tonight. I do think as the game went on, those numbers, we were at 50-some%, and that number dropped towards the end.